Hey everyone, Chaos Prime here, and today we're going to be looking at the CMA versus Microsoft CMC that occurred today in the UK, and what a presentation it actually was. I have to admit, I wasn't expecting it to be this one-sided. The CMA was so unprepared for this presentation, for this court hearing, this the management of the case management as this was. It was ridiculous, and some of the arguments they put through were just it was nonsensical. It was idiotic. I mean, to think that these lawyers are getting paid so much money, I'm talking ridiculous amounts of money, most of that coming from taxpayers' pockets, by the way, and they are this stupid. I mean, there is no other word I can really use. This really was a slam dunk for Microsoft in terms of what they were doing. So the case started off all pleasant. Both parties introduced themselves, and Microsoft basically said, "Hey, we want the case to be done in 4 weeks. We want a hearing in 4 weeks." And the judge turned around and was like, yeah, okay, I can understand that. We do want this to go quite rapidly because all the global eyes are on this case. And considering every other party out there, barring the FTC, New Zealand and Canada, I think. But I think New Zealand has actually failed their date, so they're legally allowed to close it. And I think Canada's about to miss their due date as well, so they can legally close that as well. And with the FTC already just outright suing, they can legally close that as well. It really leaves only one party, the CMA. So technically everyone is accepted except the CMA, with South Korea today, or was it North Korea? I think it was South Korea already today, having already agreed and passed it unconditionally. So the CMA came out making excuses about they need more time and that they didn't anticipate that Microsoft was going to appeal. Microsoft said they were going to appeal the decision the moment it got rejected and blocked. There was literally nothing there. There's no ambiguity here. They openly said, we are going to appeal this decision. We just need to wait for the CMA to conclude their findings so we can appeal. And the CMA just kept on, dragging it on and dragging it on. And then they came to court today saying that they were none the wiser, that Microsoft and Activision's lawyers stepped in and said, you're crazy. They literally just made a mockery of them. They even, and some of the points that were coming out, the CMA turned around and was saying, hey, the people that made the decision for us, they're not going to be able to stand up because we can't get them to come up and actually defend themselves. So we would like to get a independent person to have a look at the documents. And this obviously is going to require more time. But the judge rightfully told them to go away. That is not acceptable. If the people that made those decisions aren't available, then that's on you. Then they started saying, "Oh, but we're not going to be able to get someone from the bar school, from the bar council, to come and defend our case." And I was like, "Well, look, what you do with your holidays and stuff like that is clearly up to you. But there is a whole school of bar lawyers that are waiting to jump at the opportunity for a case like this to make a name. Go to one of them, brief them, and get it done. Microsoft got everything ready in 4 weeks. You can do it too." Then the CMA started making all these ridiculous claims and accusations, and the judge just kept on throwing them out one by one. And Microsoft's lawyer, Mr. Beard, he just literally just one-sided railroaded everything. I mean, at one point, the Microsoft lawyers and the team were just laughing alongside the judge because of how nonsensical it was. Every claim that the CMA was making, the Microsoft lawyers just looked at it and said, yeah, that's pure nonsensical. There's no grounds on the evidence. In fact, the evidence we provided you to show that your numbers, your decisions are wrong, you didn't even bother checking them. The witness cases that we supplied you, they're referring to Boosteroid, GeForce Now, and so forth. They didn't even contact them. They just made the decision on their own that, this would be bad for cloud gaming. All the decisions, all the contracts that Microsoft made, all the decisions that were taken, the remedies that were in place, the 10-year contracts, The CMA didn't look at any of these, and that became very apparent today. And the fact that the CMA's loose case was about to unfold and unravel, and all of their incompetence was about to come out, they were trying everything they could to try and get the case delayed till October! October! Can you believe that? And the judge just said, my dude, no. Just no. This needs to be dealt with in the next 4 weeks. And the next big date is on the 12th, where they come back again for the case management case hearing to finalize the dates, and the 24th and the 31st of June is going to be when they look at it. Is when the big trial begins. They want to actually conclude it within the 4 days, so by the 28th, but they have given leeway up until the 31st. But it does look like this is going to be pretty much sorted very soon. Now the case came about Activision, and the CMA's lawyer came out and said, well, you know, Activision would have obviously made the claim that the games will come out on cloud gaming anyway without Microsoft. And Activision's lawyer came out and said, why? We've already said countless times, and Bobby Kotick has provided evidence which you have refused to acknowledge, that they are against cloud gaming. Their stance is very clear, no to cloud gaming. However, through the merger, they would have no power to refuse Microsoft to actually get these games onto the cloud. So under Activision, there is no way these games would go on cloud gaming. And as Activision's representative said, what the CMA is suggesting is that more players should not have access to the games, just so the CMA's nonsensical decision making, which is procedurally and factually incorrect, should stand. In fact, Activision's representative, Lord Banniger, I think his name is, he actually turned around and said, we can actually bring in, if it's really required, we can actually get Bobby Kotick to come in so the CMA can hear from his own mouth that Activision games will not be coming to cloud gaming if the merger doesn't go through. Now, obviously, the CMA said, well, of course he's going to say that, he's got an interest, but the reality is, the CMA has taken all of this information out of their backside and presented it as fact, and there is no fact! There is literally nothing! The CMA has made up the decisions based on nothing. Even their numbers with cloud gaming are just made up. It's non-factual, non-procedural, There's no logic to their arguments, and as their arguments just continue to unravel one by one, it was crazy how the CMA's lawyers just dug deeper and deeper and deeper, and every time they tried to make an excuse to delay the case to August, September, October, the judge just said no. Why do you keep persisting? No. There's literally no reason. You've got Microsoft's lawyers on the right who are basically saying, we are happy to support and even teach them 101 what is going on. They actually offered to teach them how to do their jobs. That's how much of a joke the CMA became in this court hearing. It was an amazing thing to watch. Like, I mean, on the 2nd is when we get the intervener procedure, where they have the option to present a case if they want to push it back maybe a couple of days. But on the 7th, they are going to put forward their claims. On the 9th is when the intervention is going to be heard for Activision, because Activision are intervening. The judge asked for Activision and Microsoft to come together, abridge it, so they can kind of make this process more quick, swift, and just more streamlined, and Microsoft were more than happy to oblige as long as their case was being heard and the information they requested was being met. Mr. Beard, Microsoft's rep, wanted information regarding what the CMA, the EU, and the FTC were exchanging information on, and what was included, what was not included, because these are really important information, because those decisions need to include the fact of what Activision's position is, what the competition out there is saying, which are all of them were saying, yes, we are happy for this deal to go through. We are happy that we can get Activision games on GeForce Now, Booster Ride, and so forth. They were all happy, but none of this, it seems, was taken into consideration by the CMA, and they basically took their response and their decision out of their backside and presented it to the world with a block, just so they could be the first one to actually block. And they heavily assumed, in my opinion, that the EU would actually block as well, and then they would actually say, see, we were right, because the EU blocked as well. But when the EU hasn't blocked, they've literally got no case right now. None. And they are squirming like crazy. So what I think is going to actually happen is once they present it and the judge sees all the case files and what's going on, they're going to propose a remedy to Microsoft, and Microsoft's going to turn around and say, so you want the same thing as the EU. Or maybe the CMA is going to take a few more years onto that 10-year free license and make it 12, 13, or maybe 15 years and concede. There is no way the CMA can win this. This case will be turned over. The judge was just looking at the CMA and the idiocies that was coming from their lawyers. And I don't blame their lawyers. They were put into an impossible situation. The situation that they were in was a no-win situation. The CMA literally left them out to dry. They literally threw him out to the wolves to get eaten. And I felt sorry for that. The guy couldn't even talk properly because he was so nervous with the case he had, because there was nothing downclad with that case. Microsoft had this in the bag because all the information that the CMA has, they've not looked at the relevant information to make a decision. The people that did look at the information don't want to come to court to make the reasons heard why they actually came to those decisions, which is another red flag in itself. The files and documents that Microsoft wanted to send to the CMA to prove their case and provide remedies and show that they were not trying to pull a fast one, the CMA refused to look at or acknowledge. So where did the CMA actually get all these numbers from? Where are they getting all this factual information from? The Activision lawyer already turned around to the CMA and said, you're chatting shit, because Bobby Kotick did not say that those games would be coming, and has categorically, repeatedly said that those games will not be coming to the cloud. It is against their policy. But if bought by Microsoft, they don't have the control over that anymore. So where did the CMA get this idea that Activision games are coming, and they actually used it as a grounds to refuse? And now the Activision rep, Lord Gabbana, has basically said, if you want Bobby Kotick to come out here and tell you no to your face in a cross-examination, we're more than happy to make that happen, but we think it's a waste of time. And during the intervention, they said, look, we're happy to have the intervention now and get it out the way, because the CMA basically has no grounds to stand on, and if they're willing to concede, we can just get this over now and we don't have to proceed anymore. But obviously the lawyers for the CMA aren't in a position to make that decision because the CMA wasn't there, so they have to go back and heed counsel. So I suspect that is going to get quashed real quick, real fast, and by the night that's going to go away very, very quickly. And once that goes away very quickly, well, where else did the Activision Blizzard, the CMA decisions come from? It's a really weird case, and it's a really weird thing that the CMA is actually clinging on. I think they're looking for a loophole somewhere where they can say, right, we've thought about it, we've come to an agreement with Microsoft, we've put some remedies through, we're now happy that this does not affect competition, and we'll put it through. I mean, this case can still fall through, make no mistake, but on what grounds, I have no idea. Because even the judge said that cloud gaming and console gaming is the same market. They are, if you look at the Xbox platform, you can play games natively on the Xbox platform, or you can play it through the xCloud on the Xbox platform. Both cloud form and console form, native or cloud, is a delivery service, and therefore it is part of the same service delivering games. It is not a separate market, and they've made this perfectly clear, and the judge also agreed, which then so now we've got thrown out that the CMA are saying it's a separate market. That's gone out the window. The CMA are saying that Activision would have put the games on the market already, on the cloud market. That's gone out the window. The numbers and factual figures for the cloud users on xCloud is already bogus and false and non-factual, because even though they've got 29 million users, that doesn't mean they've got 29 million cloud users, because at that point, well, Amazon have got 200 million users. So that's a much bigger number, right? So where's the regulations and stuff for them? Oh, we don't talk about that, do we? But that's pretty much going to get quashed straight away. So what else does the CMA have to stand on? you let me know in the comment section below, because this was a very fascinating watch and I had a lot of fun watching it. I really enjoyed the case, and I'm hoping to catch the next one. Well, let me know if you want more coverage of this, and I'll see you in the next one. Remain legend.